All right.
What's up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast, back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. We got Bret on the show. What up, Bret?
Hey, man, how's it going? Glad to be back.
Yeah, good to have you on. We got Dustin on the show.
How's it going, guys?
What's up? Good to have you on, Dustin. And this is the 2020 season preview for the New England Patriots. Patriots in the news this week for signing quarterback Cam Newton. Big news there. Tom Brady leaves. Changing of the guard in New England. A lot of people, were thinking they're just going to go with Jarrett Stidham and Brian Hoyer, but they go and get Cam Newton this week. 1-year deal, very cheap deal. 1 year, about $1 million deal. Patriots went 12-4 and won the division last year, but lost in the wild card round against the Titans. Dustin, we'll start with you first. How do you feel about – so the Patriots lose Tom Brady, pretty much takes him out of the contender role. Now they sign Cam Newton. Does this place the Patriots back in contending in the AFC, or is this contending for the division and not a championship, not a trip to the Super Bowl? What does this Cam Newton signing do for New England?
I mean, it's 50-50 because it depends on what kind of Cam Newton do you have, because he's still in rehab.
Yep.
At the same time, if you can get a full great season out of Cam Newton, I mean, he's proven he's a past MVP of the league. And anytime Bill Belichick could take me and you and make us star quarterbacks,
Yeah.
So it just depends on the health of Cam Newton. But me personally, I would start Jarrett Stidham. I've always been high on him since he got drafted out of Baylor.
So you're saying you would start – would you have an open competition in the preseason and in training camp and give the job to the best of, whoever plays better, Stidham or Newton? Or are you saying you would go with Stidham regardless?
I would go with Stidham for 2 games to see how he performs, knowing that you have that secret weapon in Cam Newton, just because Stidham, has the mindset, hey, this Brady left, this is my team now. Now that you sign Newton, he's thinking like, maybe it's not my team. Maybe I take a step back.
Mm-hmm.
But, Stidham should be the starter, in my opinion, for at least the first 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying as far as Cam Newton's health, because that's definitely got to be a question. I mean, we've talked about Cam Newton's health the last 2 years in Carolina. A new throwing angle. Is the shoulder good? Is the ankle good? And we saw it last year. They shut down his season because he wasn't right. So Cam's health and Cam's, is he the Cam of old? Is he healthy? Can he perform at an MVP level? Is the big question. I would have no problem with Stidham versus Newton in training camp and in preseason. Give it to the better man. But as long as Cam is, 80%, 90%, I think he's the better option. I think he gives them the best chance to win big games. But we'll see. And Jarrett Stidham, I'm not going to give Jarrett Stidham anything in the NFL. Everything has to be won. So if he outplays Cam in the preseason, give him a week 1 start. But if I'm a Patriot fan, I want Cam Newton starting week 1. What do you think, Bret?
Yeah, you want to have the future there. Obviously it's the 1-year deal with Newton. But if you're going to have your future be Stidham, you don't want to give him that thought process, like Dustin was saying, where he, it was his team. Newton comes in, now he's not thinking as straight or thinking it being as confident as he should be there in New England. I don't have I think if whoever gives you the best opportunity to win right now, Newton's gone through that, and you signed him for 1 year. So you don't go from this. It's difficult to go from what you had with Brady for so long to then have something that is a real good possibility to give you the best chance with Newton. and as opposed to trying to build your future and get back to where you were for the last 20 years or so.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I'm not as high on Jarrett Stidham as you are, Dustin. When I was doing the Patriots season prediction for win totals before Cam was signed, and it was up to Jarrett Stidham and Brian Hoyer, I had the Patriots at 5 to 7 wins on the year. I was not sold on Stidham. I know the defense, the Bill Belichick defense, is going to be nasty and going to hold teams down as far as scoring, but Cam, in my opinion, gives you the definite highest upside, the best chance to win big games and compete in the division. And I think the signing of Cam changes a lot of that. And for me, it puts them at a 9 to 11 win range total. I mean, I know they have a tough division, but it wouldn't surprise me with a healthy Cam to go 9 and 7, 10 and 6, and be competing with Buffalo for the championship. What's your take on that, Dustin?
I mean, I can agree with that, but at the same time, man, Cam Newton is a really, really big gamble. I mean, he hasn't been right.
Yeah.
He hasn't been right since their Super Bowl run, when they went and played Denver. So, I mean, it's hard to say with his health.
It's a good risk, though, because you're signing him a 1 year, $1 million. It doesn't work out. New England, they'll cut him like they did Josh Gordon last year, like they did Antonio Brown last year. The Patriots aren't afraid to make risky moves and sign these big-name players, and if it doesn't work, they'll cut them. They got no worries about that. So I like New England's mindset here, and it makes the other teams in the division at least think about New England again. Before it was like it's wide open. Now you sign Cam, it's like, New England's, they haven't gone anywhere. They're still here. So Stidham's got to prove it. He's got to prove it to me. He's got to prove it to Patriot fans and the NFL that he's a starting quarterback in this league. And worst case scenario, Cam Newton's here to push him, to get the most out of Stidham. And if Stidham can't do it, start Cam. Hopefully he's healthy. If not, if it's Stidham and Brian Hoyer this year and Cam doesn't work out or he's not healthy, I don't have this Patriot team winning the division. I'll tell you that right now. They need a quarterback. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Neither quarterback has weapons to really take them over the top anyways. So
that's a good point.
So for them to have a good season, they would have to pretty much do it all themselves. They'd have to be accurate. They'd have to be, they can't be a turnover machine. They'd have to move the football. That's a lot of weight on the shoulders to be a quarterback for the New England Patriots, especially when you got gigantic shoes to fill.
Yeah, and the hope is that Josh McDaniels is as good of an offensive play caller as everyone says he is, so he can get Cam in positions to succeed. But we saw Tom Brady really struggle last year. Some quotes on this move are pretty interesting. Randy Moss, who, if you remember, broke the record for touchdown receptions in a season in New England with Brady with 23, says, quote, Cam will show how fun New England's offense can really be. That's kind of surprising to me because it looks like it was a pretty fun offense when Moss and Brady were breaking NFL records there in 2007 and going undefeated until the Super Bowl. What do you think of that quote, Bret? Randy Moss talking about how Cam Newton's going to really make the Patriot offense fun. What do you think of that quote?
I mean, I think it's more so related to the fact that Brady, is getting up there in age and just wasn't very mobile. The thought of having a healthy Cam Newton is, back to prior to his injuries, is very exciting for anybody, if that's for your franchise to go from, not that obviously, you were winning with Brady, but it wasn't always fun to watch, the Patriots. So
yeah, there was some tough times, definitely.
And so, if maybe he brings a little bit of a spark, something there that lights up for New England, and they just continue rolling like they were, and there's no doubt, like everybody has been having, which is okay and understandable. But who knows? We have to see.
I think what he might have meant is, I mean, anytime we see Cam, and I don't know if you guys have seen that all or nothing with the Panthers last year, but wherever Cam goes, he brings energy and excitement with him. He's always got a smile on his face. He's very energetic. He gets the players around him to play harder with him because of that. And maybe that's what he meant. Another quote from an AFC East head coach texting about Cam and the Patriots says, quote, "I think they're going to keep 3 quarterbacks. Use Cam perhaps as a wild card. I actually don't see him starting week 1. I know one thing for a fact. The Patriots love Jarrett Stidham." So that's a interesting quote coming from a division rival head coach. Really claiming to think the Patriots are all in on Jarrett Stidham. But some people's response has been, if you're all in on Jarrett Stidham, why sign Cam Newton? What's your thoughts on the Randy Moss quote and this quote by the head coach, Dustin?
I'm going to start with the quote by the head coach.
Yeah.
The quote is, honestly, when you ask about the Cam Newton thing, I believe they signed Cam Newton for a veteran type of leadership role instead of a starting role because, I've said before, I'm really, really high on Jarrett Stidham.
Yeah, and you're seeing that more and more. I mean, people get enamored with the big-name quarterback when they're often brought in a veteran role. I'm drawing a blank on recently, but, I mean, you're talking about Nick Foles in Chicago, Cam Newton here in New England. We might be all buying the sleight of hand and, looking at the big name when really Jarrett Stidham's getting the start all along. And that'll be interesting. You might be onto something, Dustin.
I could see it being like a Favre, Aaron Rodgers type thing where Stidham had a few years to learn, under Tom Brady, and then he comes in knowing he had a chance to be the franchise quarterback. But
yeah, it'll do wonders for Stidham's confidence if he legit beats Cam Newton in a quarterback competition. I mean,
maybe that's why they did it.
Yeah, you never know what's going on in New England. They're geniuses over there.
Hey, anything, yeah, they literally, fold out chairs and it's making it work. I mean, I don't know what they're doing over there. But
as for the Randy Moss quote,
yeah,
I still think that, I mean, is that not kind of a knock to Tom Brady by basically saying that their offense has always been boring?
It definitely is, especially when you broke NFL records with them. I mean, it's interesting to hear Randy Moss say that, and I wonder if there's some hidden animosity there between Moss and Brady, or it does seem like a little bit of a shot.
I mean, he's just, maybe he's just being honest. It doesn't mean that it wasn't, just because they broke records and whatnot doesn't mean that it wasn't boring.
Yeah.
It just, I mean, but then again, I'm not saying that it's not. Who knows? There's a lot of locker room things that the fan base, 99% stuff we don't even know about. So,
yeah.
I mean, who knows? Things come out years later.
So one thing I do like about what this Patriot team is doing, they're silently building a pretty good roster, I feel like. Now, players to watch in 2020, one guy I really thought was going to have a better rookie year, and I think he'll bounce back, especially if he's got Cam or whatever. Whoever's under center is going to love this guy if he can develop, and that's N'Keal Harry. I believe he's a number 1 wide receiver if he can get it all together, develop, and become that. And also, I'm a big fan of Jacoby Myers, who was a rookie last year as well. Some good young receivers they have. And then if you look at their linebacking crew, I mean, they have Chase Winovich labeled as a defensive end. So they got Chase Winovich, who they drafted last year out of Michigan. Shalik Calhoun out of Michigan State, who I'm a big fan of. Josh Uche, who they drafted this year out of Michigan in the second round. Jawan Bentley, who I believe he was out of Purdue. I'm a big fan of him at linebacker. And then Anthony Jennings, who they got in the third round out of Bama. I love the young defenders that the Patriots are adding. What do you think, Bret? Those are some good young pieces.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those names are very familiar too.
Yeah.
seeing those guys, how explosive they were in the Big Ten, 4 of them there.
Yeah.
It's
I'm a big
very
Anthony Jennings fan too. Those guys are all
right.
athletes.
I mean, nothing against Bama. I'm just saying, those. It's nice to see where a lot of teams go have like a package of 2 or 3 linebackers that they've had there as a core. Obviously, the Patriots just gave up quite a few pieces in the offseason.
Yeah, but they're going young. Yeah.
Right, and it's that's another way to establish yourself, and those guys get those long-term deals here, and now your whole like front middle is pretty much taken care of if you can develop them. And obviously with Belichick there's those guys are going to develop into the players that most teams want.
Plus, we all know in New England it's all about depth, and that's what they seem to be really building.
Right.
And good young depth at those positions. Dustin, so Steven Gostkowski, a 14-year member of the Patriots, got hurt last year, got released this offseason. No more Steven Gostkowski. Now they draft kicker Justin Rohrwasser out of the 5th round out of Marshall. So now we got a kicker in New England who most of us have never really heard of. What do you think about the Patriots kicking situation going forward? It's crazy to see Gostkowski out of there.
Well, I mean, we know from the past, no offense, that the kicking game is very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
So,
why do you say no offense? Why are you taking a shot?
Double doink.
I was trying to laugh there.
We can't forget the double doink, man. I'm sorry. That had to be the most.
Imagine being there live to see that. Imagine being in those stands and seeing that double doink. It was no fun.
I couldn't beat Cody Parkey, man, because I feel like that defense was a championship defense that year.
Yeah, we went from Cody Parkey to Eddie Parkey, or Eddie Pinheiro, but the same guy.
But yeah, the kicking game is very important, and anytime you lose a 14-year veteran really hurt your kicking team. So
yeah.
But Bill Belichick is a guy who doesn't really, he likes to score touchdowns, man. He doesn't really like to kick field goals. So with that going on, he probably wouldn't kick more than a 40-yard field goal until the guy can get experience and, start to learn. Mm-hmm. If it's a 4th and 2 and 4th and 1, especially with Cam, I think he's just gonna bulldoze it.
Yeah.
Right up the middle.
Yeah, and they got those,
like that, we never thought about that.
That's a good point.
That way.
That's a great point by Dustin. It's like the Patriots love the 4th and short yardages, and you bring in Cam, that's a perfect guy for it. And then all the things you can do off of it, whether it's quarterback option, the guy you can either flip it to or a slant, something like that.
We know how much Bill Belichick loves the little short passes to the running backs out of the backfield. So James White,
any of those guys. You got the tight ends, a couple good young tight ends brought in. So let's look at season prediction for the Patriots. We had the Bills right around that 9, 10, 11, 12 win range, battling for the division. Like I said, I have the Patriots in that 5 to 7, 6 to 8 win range before Cam Newton. Dustin, where's your Patriot win range for 2020?
Well, because I don't know what's exactly going to happen with Newton.
Yeah.
I'd say I give him an 8-8, 9-7 with Newton as a starting quarterback. 7-9 with Jarrett Stidham as a starting quarterback.
Okay, I can respect that. If you look at their schedule, which I'm sure you have, it's pretty tough, especially early, especially the first half of the year. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if the Patriots are sitting at 3-4, 7 games into the year. So they could turn it on late in the year. But even with a healthy Cam Newton, they have a tough schedule. I'm talking at the Chiefs, home against the Ravens, at the Bills. Some tough games.
Seattle.
Seattle, yes. Some tough
San
games.
Francisco.
At the Rams, I believe. San Francisco. So some tough games that they got to prove they can win. For me, I've got them in the 9 to 11 win range with Cam being healthy and being at his best. Like I said with Stidham, it's more in the 5 to 7 win range. But my official prediction, I'm going to say 9 to about the same as Buffalo. I think it's going to be a Bills-Patriots battle for the division. And it might come down to that week 15. Is it week 15? Bills-Patriots might come down to that game on Monday night, for the division. So what do you think, Brett? Where's your win range total on that, on New England?
I mean, either way, they're gonna start whoever they feel is gonna give them the best chance to win. So I think it's gonna be 7, 8, 9 wins. If they can get if they beat Buffalo once, I think that there'll be 9 wins with the chance to win the division. If they lose to Buffalo twice, I think they'll be 8 and 8, 7 and 9, and obviously at the end there it'll be over. But I don't.
Yeah, they have to find a way to continue to dominate the division. They have to find a way to sweep the Jets, sweep the Dolphins. What got them in trouble the last couple of years is some tough late season losses to Miami, stuff like that.
And yeah, that's even more so possibly the case this year. So
yeah,
they got through some of those before. Now they're gonna start getting through those, and they got a tough road ahead of them.
Yeah, and something we can't forget about is that even with Cam Newton, no matter who the starting quarterback is, it's going to be a tough year, and they're going to have their hands full. The Bills are better. The Jets are going to be hungry. The Dolphins should be better, depending on when Tua starts and all that. So it's going to be a fun AFC East this year, and I can't wait. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead, Dustin.
And it would also be interesting to finally see what Bill Belichick can do with his back against the wall. He's never really had that for 20 years that Tom Brady was there. He was always either playing for championships or AFC championship games. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what he can do with his back against the wall and pressure on him.
Very interesting. I mean, the last time we saw him without Brady was Matt Castle, and he still got 11 wins. So, big prove-it year for Bill Belichick. And a lot of guys in the NFL. Big prove-it year for Cam Newton. Big prove-it year for Tom Brady. Big prove-it year for Bill Belichick. I can't wait. We better get some damn football this year.
I think we will.
Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks, guys. Good shit as always. And we'll be back on later. Peace out.